Though the General Law Subcommittee one is commencing, and everybody sign in on the roll here. Take the roll. Let's see. Yes, it is. All right, a quorum is present, and we're waiting on the senator to show up, but I think we may have some business to conduct. Delegate Runyon.
Mr. Chair, voting on the prevailing side of House Bill or Senate Bill 199, I would like to offer a motion to remove that from the table.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to take up what bill number?
199, I believe.
Senate Bill 199 off the table. Can you describe that bill to us?
Oh, I'm sorry, my machine is cut off.
That's for somebody else. Here, voice down.
No, that was Jay's. Public auction of personal property to satisfy a lien advertisement required website. And what the bill does, it allows for an advertisement of the public auction of personal property to satisfy a lien in mini storage to be published in an accessible website. As under current law, the advertisement is required to be published in a newspaper of general circulation. And we heard the testimony on this bill at the previous subcommittee meeting, Mr. Chair.
Might have something there.
And move to report.
Thank you, Delegate Runyon. All right, we have a motion to report. We need a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is any other discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, speaking to the motion.
Delegate Adams.
We did have a discussion, and at the time, I think that some of the questions weren't directly answered, and since that time, my vote isn't changing at all, but I do think, as great as the internet is, it is not a public utility, and therefore it's not available to every person. We know that the mail has been inconsistent at best over the last couple of years, and we also know that people who are having financial difficulties don't always have the ability to pay for their phones. So I feel like the newspaper is a source of last notification, even if it's maybe a neighbor notices it or a family member. And that's why I'll be voting no. And I wanted to just state that, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
And I'm just thinking back from memory. I think the bill that we were talking about had required I believe, a second number on it. Was that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chair, and we could go back and look at it. And I understand where the delegates' comments come from and don't completely disagree with that. I do think that this is different than where we view these newspaper advertisements in a legal notice point of view, in that this is really more driven for advertising, and I think it gives the property owner, the mini storage owner, the right to manage that from a business point of view, and so that's why I would offer that. So,
Delegate Jenkins.
Mr. Chairman, my thoughts are in line with Delegate Adams here. One of the biggest challenges that we've talked about is access to broadband. And I think that, especially during the pandemic, it was highlighted that a lot of persons and a lot of communities do not have access to broadband. So we're talking about advertising this on the internet. What do persons do who do not have access to broadband or access to the internet? That's why the newspapers are the best source right now.
Mr. Chair.
Delegate Runyon.
Thank you for the staff to make my correction. There was an amendment offered originally, so my motion, I would resend and then reoffer my motion to move to report with amendment.
Need a second?
Second. Second to the amendment.
All those in favor will cast their vote on the,
I had a request to speak, sir. So can I go
hold on,
ahead and
back
speak?
up. We just need to adopt the amendment.
Oh, Chris,
I'm sorry.
do we need to adopt the amendment?
We just did, didn't we?
All in favor of the
yes.
amendment, say aye.
Aye. Okay, can I still speak to the bill? I mean, have we already adopted?
Yep, yep.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I understand the argument here, but I think that every opportunity we have to make notices accessible to individuals is important. And my concern is that I just renewed my annual subscription to my newspaper in the city of Lynchburg. So last year it was $228. This year it is $345 for a 12-month subscription. Newspapers they're struggling like everything else out here. I think the more options people have to receive notices and via the internet and Facebook and things like that, that's where things are headed. And I think it actually gives access to more people who may not be able to receive either a weekly or a daily paper. So that was my concern, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug Williams. All right. Yes. All right, we have a motion to report, and the members will cast their vote on the electronic voting machine. All right, bill reports by a vote of 4-3. You see, I think we are still waiting on Senator. Are you going to carry Senator Morrison's bill?
Well, I did better on mine when I wasn't here, sir, than when I was. So I think he would probably say no. But thank you, Mr. Chairman, members.
Yes. All right, the committee will suspend for hopefully just a minute or two.
Sorry, I've been over running transportation next door, and
Roads are important.
all right, there we go. Thank you so much. Are you ready?
All right, Senator Martin, do we want to adopt the substitute?
We do have a substitute to offer. Yes,
All
sir.
right. All right, Ashley, you help us out there?
Mr. Chairman, it should be posted on LAS and iHeart now.
All right. Have the members seen the substitute? There's a substitute on iHeart, folks. All right.
Mr. Chairman, would you
All
like me
right.
to quickly explain the
Yep.
substitute?
Yep. Yes. Yeah, Senator Marsden, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, sir. We do have a delayed enactment on this, that the provisions of this act shall become effective on January 1, 2023. And basically what this does, nothing in this section shall prohibit the board from approving a curriculum consisting of more than 1,000 hours. In other words, one of the concerns we've heard is that some people, they learn at a different pace, and they may want a license that it requires more hours for them to have the confidence to do that. We heard that. And this was an idea that came from some of the cosmetology schools, and we're actually offering it and at this point in time. And but the central issue here is workforce. 1,500 hours for many people is just too long. It's expensive, and it's difficult for individuals to do 1,500 hours when they might be a single mom with a couple of kids and looking for a career. And during COVID, everybody is sort of reevaluating, it seems, their life and their choices of avocation, their choices of vocation. And we are having such a huge problem in this country with the chains of folks. You're just doing the routine, the routine kind of haircuts and hair services that are offered in communities. We're not necessarily talking about the designer salons and Vidal Sassoon and all that. We're just trying to find folks who can provide these services in the community. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and went out to a Great Clips. And there was one person on duty. I happened to sneak in a gap. 3, 4, 5 other people came in. They were told, just no way. They just don't have the workforce, and we need to get America back to work. And a 1,000-hour cosmetology license will do that. And we recognize some of the concerns that the schools that teach this had. We've tried to accommodate that, but let's get people back to work. 1,000 hours works in other states. It can work here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Let's get folks back. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Martin. Now, again, I believe we still have to adopt the substitute. Do a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Substitute's before us. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. All right, we're going to take some testimony now. Now, we have a lot of folks here, Senator, so I thought we would give like maybe 5 minutes
Mr.
on
Chair.
both sides, and then we're going to talk to the people in the queue and Delegate Adams.
Mr. Chair, are we going to ask questions first or after testimony?
Well, Delegate, would you like to ask a question?
I have several questions.
You have the floor.
Thank you. So I'm a big believer in education, but I'm also a bigger believer in not wasting money or overly, encumbering people with classes that may or may not be necessary. And certainly cosmetology is broader than haircutting. I understand that. And also it is one of those professions where repetition is the mother of skill. So I understand that. My question is, and I understand that DPOR is the curriculum decider. And my question is more specifically, what is being cut from that curriculum and how will that impact the profession? That would be my first question, either to you or if DPOR's here.
Is there my just preliminary, answer to that is that they are able to do this successfully in other states without any increase in the number of complaints. And the way you get good at this is not really through your education. It's getting on the job and doing it under the, working with other people and cutting hair. School only gets you so far.
And I agree. That's why I prefaced my question. I didn't know if there is somebody that is actually from DPOR, not a lobbyist, but from DPOR that could tell me what's being cut. Because the other question is, how many states have 1,000 hours? Are there any problems with those states? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there?
Hi, Mr. Chair, my name is Steve Kirshner. I'm serving as the Executive Director of the Board for Barbers and Cosmetology. And the administration has not given us a position on this bill. As far as how the board would go about taking the 500 hours out of the curriculum, that would have to go through the regulatory process. And so the board would convene a committee, consult with stakeholders, and look at just where can we take the 500 hours out.
Follow up, Mr. Chair?
Delegate Adams.
So I guess then that speaks to, why isn't this a regulatory issue rather than a legal issue?
I'm really not able to answer that question, obviously, because we are not involved in the bill coming forward. But yeah, the board, up until, or I should say, including through today, the hours have been set in the regulations, and the board is able to change that through the regulatory process. Follow up, Mr. Chair?
Delegate Adams.
Has that actually been proposed in the past one way or another?
Yes, to answer the question, Mr. Chair, this question had come to the board in 2019. The board created a standing committee on training and has been, over the last few years, been looking at several different aspects of it, and they've been having ongoing conversations about the cosmetology curriculum and hours, but they have not enacted any changes yet to those.
Follow up, Mr. Chair?
Delegate Adams.
Is that delay because of the pandemic, or is there just couldn't come to a conclusion, or were the sides apart and we decided, oh, this can't be done in the regulatory process, so we have to do it, move it into, making a law about it? I'm just trying to understand, what happened.
Mr. Chair, certainly the pandemic has slowed things down, and the committee stopped meeting for many months because of the pandemic. Largely it's because of the changes that they're looking at are substantial, and the board has gone slow and cautiously, recognizing that it could have large impacts on a lot of stakeholders.
Final question, Mr. Chair.
Delegate Adams.
Are you aware of any states that have dropped to 1,000 hours and then found that was actually a problem?
And Mr. Chair, so there are, if memory serves correct, 4 states that are at 1,000 hours. Most of them have moved to that number within the last 5 years. As far as the kinds of problems, I'm not really able to say that I know of specific problems that they've encountered. I have asked the state of Texas, which dropped about 2 years ago, if they had an equivalent reduction in people passing the exam. And they said their exam pass rate stayed the same when they reduced the hours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Sorry.
Thank you.
Matt Bedke with the Future of Beauty Coalition. I'd like to add a little bit to that we have seen no difference in the data in 1,000-hour states and 1,500-hour states in terms of the number of complaints and the number of found complaints. And I used to serve as the vice chairman of the DPOR Oversight Board. I know DPOR very well. This board is a complicated board. You have 5 different industries on that board. That's the most of any other board. You've got cosmetology, barber, nails, tattoo, and some other stuff. There's only 2 cosmetologists on the board. We've asked them to do it. They haven't done it. That's why we're back. It's a crisis issue. And most specifically, you know why we regulate. We regulate for the health and welfare of our citizenry. And we've proven that there is no difference in 1,500 and 1,000 hours. So, and Virginia used to be a 1,000-hour state. So.
You want public testimony? Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Dave Albo, also representing Future Beauty Coalition. To answer part of Delegate Adams' question, the code 54.1-100, which is the code section I hadn't looked at before, and I found it very interesting. It says that people in Virginia have a constitutional right to pursue the trade of their choice, and then it limits the state's ability to regulate that trade only to the point of health and safety. So DPOR doesn't certify people as experts. What they do is they certify people as having been trained well enough to protect the health, welfare, and safety of the public. An analogy would be when I got my law degree, I was certified to be safe, but I couldn't do a murder trial. I wasn't qualified for it. So when I became a public defender, they first started, say you do some driving on suspended licenses, then you do DUIs, then you do theft, then eventually you become qualified enough to do life in prison trials. So the certification is only to make sure that people are safe and protect the public. It does not make it that they are experts at their field.
Thank you.
Hi. Thank you for allowing me to give testimony today. My name is Kim Schottler, and I love this industry. I've been in the cosmetology industry for over 25 years. 1,000-hour program, you've heard a lot about this. You certainly will today. This is not a new concept. There can't be debate of whether it's enough, whether it works. There are 5 states right now at 1,000 hours. It's a proven program. I'm going to share just a few quick facts, knowing how busy you are, from the AIR report. The AIR report was an independent study done in the cosmetology industry. It was funded by the major organizations in the industry, including the American Association of Cosmetology Schools, because these organizations wondered what would the outcomes be on important topics when looking at a 1,500-hour program compared to a 1,000-hour program. And this independent study found there's no benefit in programs over 1,000 hours. Programs over 1,000 hours don't lead to higher graduation rates. Programs over 1,000 hours don't lead to higher licensure rates. Graduates of programs over 1,000 hours don't earn more in wages. 1,000-hour states receive the same safety and infection control training. More hours force students to stay in school longer, resulting in higher student debt. Listen, this shouldn't be about what the salons want or what the schools want. All this should be about is what does a student need for licensure? What do they need? States have been training in 1,000 hours, New York and Massachusetts, for decades, since the 1920s. There are proven programs using the exact same textbooks. Since it's been proven, why keep students in school longer? Thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to ask Senator Morrison just a quick question. Now, the bill as amended does not limit DPOR from promulgating regulations in excess of 1,000 hours. Is that correct?
That is correct. Some people choose to get a master's degree in their profession. Others choose a bachelor's degree. 1,000 hours would get you, working in a store and without any deleterious effects of that 1,000 hours. Others who would feel more comfortable with 1,500 hours in additional time, they could choose that. That's what we're basically allowing DPOR to do, is to create that 1,500-hour curriculum as well. Thank you.
We have one more on the in favor.
Hi. I'm Debbie Wiseman. Thank you for hearing us. I have been in this business for 42 years. I'm a licensed stylist in the state of Virginia, and I've led salon businesses in 14 states. One is Virginia, and I've also led salons with the 1,000-hour requirement. And what I can tell you is they are equally successful in every state that I've done business, from cuts, color, condition, style, and safety. And I'm just asking the board today to let people get to work faster, start earning an income, and start paying taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we have some testimony from folks who are opposed. Now, again, we're going to have like maybe 4 or 5 folks just like on the other side, and then we're going to, all right, so, all right. All right.
Good afternoon.
Yep.
My name is Erica McCarthy. I've been in the beauty industry now for 15 years. I've held licenses in Ohio, North Carolina, and Virginia. I'm currently the Director of Education at Circle Square Salon for an Apprentice Program. I have taught in beauty schools in North Carolina, and I'm here today to implore you to vote no on this bill. While I certainly agree with the idea of getting people to work faster, I think this is an industry where there are very real safety concerns for the consumers that are sitting in our chairs. Relaxers have a pH of 12.5 out of a scale of 14. You can easily and very quickly give somebody a chemical burn that can scar their scalp for life. I don't feel that 1,000 hours is anywhere close to enough time to learn these skills. And while I appreciate the idea, again, of getting people out faster, I can say, as someone who is in management on the salon side, we would have to educate a new stylist coming out of a 1,000-hour program for 500 to 600 hours, which is financially not viable for our salon. It would prevent us from considering anyone from a 1,000-hour program for employment. I also think this creates a barrier for people who are licensed in Virginia. If they would like to move to another state where the requirement is higher, there is a real financial impact on them. And again, for cosmetology, this is an industry predominantly filled with women, most of us low-income women. And I think that if you are putting up a financial barrier to someone, that's not okay. So again, I would implore you, please vote no. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Cassie Stroth with McGuire Woods Consulting on behalf of several cosmetology schools. We have over nearly 50 students who drove here from Roanoke and Virginia Beach. We have just a few to speak to you today. And I would say we agree with the senator that we want people in the workforce, but we want people to be successful in the workforce. While the amendments may help with implementation, we don't think that they will really help people get into the workforce at the pace they need to own their own business. So I'll let the students do the talking now.
Thank you. All right, we got a couple of students. Here we go. Welcome.
Hello. My name is Christine King. I am from Southwest Virginia, and I'd like to let you all know that I took a 3-year cosmetology program in high school, and I'm currently enrolled at Paul Mitchell, the school in Roanoke. I graduate in about 200 hours, which would be mid-April. I'm not 100% ready, but I know what I need to do to finish in order to be ready. I am currently working in a salon, but if I was to graduate at Paul Mitchell at 1,000 hours, I probably would not continue my license with cosmetology. So I do oppose the bill, but I do support adding in a program to where students can graduate at 1,000 hours just on hair cutting, working with chemicals and also knowing that texture hair is different than fine hair. If someone was to lighten my hair the same way that they lighten fine hair, they would damage it. You need to have more knowledge. It's not as simple as people think. Also with the parts of like waxing and doing nails and things like that, it is imperative that we have the hours and it's not shortened.
Thank you for your testimony. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Cameron Ellingson. I attend Paul Mitchell School, Roanoke, and I oppose this bill due to financial reasons, being I would not be able to attend cosmetology school without financial aid.
Thank you. So, all right, who's next?
Good evening. I'm Carly Pierce. I'm a student at Rudy and Kelly, a Paul Mitchell Partners School in Virginia Beach. I urge you to take a look at why these chain salons don't have enough employees instead of moving to shorten our hours, which will in turn rush the curriculum, devalue our education, and eventually ruin the quality, passion, independency, and integrity of the cosmetology field. I am at 1,000 hours, and I am not confident starting my career successfully, and I oppose this bill.
Thank you. All right, so a couple more.
My name's Grayson Amos. I am attending the Paul Mitchell School of the Roanoke, whatever. I oppose this bill because all of these women came last minute this week, like reset everything, just to say no. I've been in for about a month, which is 100 hours. If I finished hair school 10 months from now, I probably wouldn't continue. It's about safety. It's so much more than you think. Even the 1,500 hours, it's all crammed into your head very quickly, and then the rest is just learning on your own. And in the end, we need these hours. And the people in Texas, there were too many people who lost their financial aid and all their Pell Grants from this. So just take that into consideration.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We're going to go to the queue. Right now we have Jonathan. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You have the floor.
All right, wonderful. Those student testimonies were very powerful because ultimately that's what the bill will be affecting is these students. My name is Jonathan Moole. I'm a school operator in Lynchburg, Virginia, and I do oppose this bill. I'm going to be very brief. Why is this bill so controversial and divisive? We all want the same thing, right? For the industry to grow. The schools, the employers, and DPOR should be working together to build solutions, not against one another. And I believe the disagreement behind this bill should be greatly concerning, especially since we all have the same goal. Just the last point I want to highlight is that DPOR already has a solution that they're building, and that is the hair-only license at 1,000 hours, which would build a more reasonable, less risky pathway and allow students to make their own choices while maintaining value in their education. DPOR is authorized, capable, and responsible for establishing the training requirements for professions and quite good at it. This law is not only controversial, but unnecessary. Thank you very much, and I hope you oppose this bill.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll let the senator have the final word.
Well, yes, if I could I ask those who were in support of the bill who are here to raise their hands? I would close.
How about all the ones that are opposed?
Yeah,
you give them a chance too. So there you go. All right,
that's in the show.
All right, that's enough. Senator has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, here today are members of a very broad-based coalition of local and national hair companies and cosmetology professionals to support the bill. Especially want to thank for being here today Hair Cuttery, which is headquartered in Fairfax County with several hundred employees. Our coalition also includes the International Salon Spa Business Network, which represents over 25,000 salons in North America, Intercoiffure, an organization representing thousands of high-end salons, Hair Cuttery, Sports Clips, Great Clips, Ulta Beauty, JCPenney salons, Blue Company brands, the Professional Beauty Employment Coalition, and many others. Combined, this coalition has more than 300 stores in Virginia and over 6,000 employees. On this committee alone, you have over 120 stores in your combined districts. And we appreciate your support on this bill. We've had this before the committee a number of times. I think we need to move this. Our great economy isn't going to last that way until we get people back to work. And this is the way to do that.
I believe Delegate Runyon, you have a question?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to ask the patron, actually I have two questions. One, there have been a number of speakers commented about financial aid. So do we know how a change in the hours would impact potential financial aid for students?
I believe it, I don't know the exact details, but it comes in when you complete certain blocks of hours. It's not a question, I don't believe, of, I think they can.
I've been assured that it does not change financially.
Has the redhead had a chance to talk to the lobbyist right there?
I don't think so.
She represents the
Delegate Runyon.
Yes.
I think too is there would be somewhat less cost involved in, but I think the primary thing here is the amount of time and commitment. And certainly people, I believe, are still going to be eligible for grants. My understanding is that they do come in blocks of time, and it does not depend on any particular hours. And I think that can that is certainly a concern for people is cost, but certainly 1,000 hours is going to be somewhat less in cost. I can't tell you how much.
Mr. Chair, I think the Senator and I really appreciate it, and I can't emphasize enough how important the financial aid aspect is of this to make sure we get it right. My second question is, will our apprenticeship program be accommodated in the Commonwealth? Have we addressed any issues relating to required hours? And I'm not very knowledgeable about how the apprenticeship program works. I just know that we do not want to do anything that may complicate that or restrict the apprenticeship program.
I am not familiar with apprenticeship programs as they relate. Perhaps somebody.
I'd be glad to talk on this gently, is that we have no intention, as we discussed earlier, we have no intention on damaging the apprentice programs, and we would be amenable to working with the governor's office on an amendment that made certain that that was the case.
And I truly do appreciate that. The last comment I'd like to make, and I apologize because I do not remember the lady's name that came to. Yes, thank you. Mr. Chairman, it's certainly up to you, but I would be interested in hearing what she has to say, because I don't think you've spoken yet, right?
I can speak, but I have someone who can speak on
Okay. All right. Well, my apologies. So thank you.
On the financial aid piece. Sir.
Do you have somebody specifically to answer the financial aid question? Hey, please step forward, please.
My name is John Turnage. I am the managing partner of Paul Mitchell School Roanoke. I also own 5 other schools, so I understand it intimately, and 3 of those are in the state of Texas. So I can answer other questions as well if asked. But the way that financial Title IV funding works is it's in 900-hour blocks. So if a state is 1,800 hours, a student would get full funding for 2 900-hour blocks. Full, if they qualify for grant or subsidized or unsubsidized loans, they would get the full amount on both sides. When you cut the second 900 hours, in this case, like in a 1,500-hour state, which Virginia currently is, they would get 2/3, 600 of 900 of that block from Title IV. If you cut it to 1,000, they only get 1/9 of the second block. So it does impact their Title IV funding and what they could be eligible for, obviously depending on what they qualify for.
Delegate Walker.
Thank you. So several questions here. Currently, DPOR's requirements, and I'm looking at what I printed out today, Senator Marston. The cosmetology is 1,500 hours, barbers are 1,100 hours. So essentially, if you're not going the barbering route, which includes the aesthetics, waxing, and all the other things, nail tech here. So really, it's almost like barbering, a little over 1,000 hours, and you'd have a license if you're just hair cutting. Now, I want to make sure I understand that we're not apples and oranges here. So if I understand your amendment, so it will not limit to just 1,000 hours. It could be 1,000 hours. It could be 1,500 hours. Is that correct?
It could be 2 different curriculums.
Okay. But then that wouldn't affect those that are qualifying for the grant, I think, as the gentleman just indicated, 900 hours. So if it takes you 1,500 hours to complete, if you're in a school, you'll still be getting the full benefit of the grant. Am I correct?
I'm not certainly an expert in that area, but so I couldn't answer that specific question. However, these shops, they do more than just what a lot of the gentlemen up here on the dais do, which is you go to a place and they just cut your hair. Women go to these shops to have their hair dyed, to have their hair curled, to have it set, to have any number of things, to be able to do different kinds of haircuts. I don't have enough hair left to do much of anything with my hair other than what you see, but that is I think the issue in these stores with a barbering license may not be economically valuable for some of these shops to have somebody who can just cut a guy's hair.
So, Senator, if I may, so what I'm hearing is there's concern about funding for schools, the grants and all of that. Secondly, so this can be delayed for a year until 2023. So you actually have time, it sounds like, between the professions, especially DPOR, and to try to work out or fine-tune this a little bit so that everybody's still getting something out of this. And if DPOR is responsible for the licensing there, and if I understood correctly, and I don't want to misquote, but you said there's been issues with the board representation as far as cosmetology. So isn't that a gubernatorial appointments? I'm not sure how these boards, these people are appointed. So it sounds like you have a little bit more of an internal issue, somebody not working as closely with the professions. I want to make sure I'm not getting confused here. If somebody could help me out there.
Mr. Chair, Mitch Mellis, Agency Director for DPOR. Trying to understand your question on what exactly that is.
Okay, so you already have your standards right here, you know, the hours and things of that nature there. And so the schools, you know, you do the schools 1,500 hours, and what they're proposing is a 1,000-hour program. So you still have your curriculum that you have to meet. Even if it takes you more than 1,000 hours, you still benefit from that. But if the board wanted to make changes from cosmetology 1,500 hours or less, would that have to come from the board of cosmetology or DPOR? Because currently you have 1,500 hours according to what I have here.
1,500 hours is the cosmetology program, yes, sir. Mr. Chair.
So I guess my question is, and this is what concerns me with other things, we trust the marketplace and the professionals. We don't want to come here and be referees dealing with professionals that can resolve these issues. And that's what I think that Senator Marston's approach here, or excuse me, recommendations, is to exceed the 1,000 hours and then delay implementation until y'all can fine-tune things so that the students don't get caught in, we're losing our benefits now. So I'm more open to this recommendation or this amendment right here. I'm just thinking maybe in the future down the line, is this something that DPOR can go back and look at as far as amending what your requirements are now, then to keep the marketplace moving forward?
Mr. Chair,
I don't know if that helps you.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I was appointed January 15th of this past year, so I'm with the current administration. Certainly regulatory reduction is a massive priority for us. The way the boards are set up is those board members are relied on as the subject matter experts to determine what is and is not safe. And we do challenge them to make sure they are not going above what the minimum requirements would be to keep the public safe. That is something that's challenged. I can't speak to the last several years. What I will say is we are taking a line-by-line look at all regulations and training requirements over the course of this next year to be able to determine whether or not they do in fact meet minimum requirements or do they exceed them. So absolutely that body is the one that we will take this to. They will, based on their expertise of doing it in the field along with citizen members that are on the board, make sure that they meet the minimum requirements as the statute, I believe in 54.311, lays out. The only reason our existence is here is to protect the public. It's not necessarily to prepare. It's not to prepare anybody for the workforce. It is solely for the purpose of ensuring minimum requirements, and so we will be looking at that. I can assure that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Delegate Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question, but I also want to say I do a lot of nursing bills, and I can't fill that front row. I'm just so respectful to all of you all. I think it's amazing that you're so pro your profession, no matter what side you're on. It's amazing that you're here. I thank you for coming here, for speaking to us, to being present. Even if you're not physically heard, you're physically seen, and we really, really appreciate it. I find the amendment confusing, so this is my last question. You know, the way it reads, it's just... it's really bothering me because it's the 1,000 hours is tied to a license to practice cosmetology, and I guess unless the wording ultimately changes to license to practice cosmetology in haircutting only, and then goes to other levels. That's the part that I'm struggling with, because I really do see that there are many components to cosmetology beyond the hair cutting, and I'm struggling with that.
Well, I think there is a barbering license as it exists right now, and I don't believe it has, it's able to be funded, in terms of students getting at that. This just deals with cosmetology, which is a broader issue. And, these things have been set for a long time. We have examples in other states where this can be done more efficiently, and we can get more people, to work. And basically, the intent of the amendment is to allow DPOR to create a 1,500-hour license for those who want to take that time and that effort, like people who want to get a master's degree.
Mr. Chair.
That type of thing.
Well, I don't see it that way entirely, but I guess what I'm really asking is about the languaging. I don't know if that is that a capacity, I guess I'm asking DPOR, is that a capacity where you use the license of cosmetology in different categories because there is funding tied to it that is important, but more importantly, the skill attached to it. And the way this is written, yes, it leaves it open-ended for more than 1,000, but will you be able to have room to make a mandate of more than 1,000? That's my question to DPOR.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
There really would not be, so if cosmetology is going to be the 1,000 hours and the scope of practice is cosmetology, there really wouldn't be a purpose to create a license larger than that. If your scope of practice can be done at 1,000 and our job is to ensure minimum requirements, then a 1,500-hour course is not a public interest to ensure. If we've already assured it 1,000, we wouldn't create a license for 1,500.
Mr. Chair, so I guess my follow-up, but this essentially mandates 1,000 can be more. So are you saying that you have the license it's in your purview that if you see that you actually need 1,250, 1,300, whatever it is as cosmetology, that you have the capacity to do that within this amendment? That's what I'm asking.
No, I think the intent, and I'll let the patron speak to the intent of the amendment, but my understanding would be that if a school wishes to offer more hours, so if a school wants to be, hey, I want to do 1,500 hours because I want to provide more training, they could do a 1,500-hour training.
But, Mr. Chair, is that illegal now?
No.
Steve, can you offer
no.
more than 12?
They can, yeah.
Or 1,500 correctly?
Yes, it's a minimum. There are schools that do 1,800.
Mr. Chair, you can offer, currently it's 1,500 hours, so if a school wishes to offer an 1,800-hour program, they are able to.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't understand the purpose of the amendment, but thank you.
I think the issue's been presented. We need to give people more options. We need to get people back to work. If those feel comfortable taking longer programs that are set up here, as long as we have a cosmetology that can do it 1,000 hours and get people into these shops. Haircuttery, who started out with this several years ago, they went bankrupt and had to be taken over by somebody else. And a good part of that was not being able to get employees. And that's what we're trying to do. And I think that is part of the governor's mission in this administration that was just talked about in terms of taking a look at regulations. I think this is an important part of that.
Thank you. Thanks, Senator Marsden. All right, the chair will entertain a motion.
Chairman, I move the report based upon the amendments that the senators offered here.
We have a motion to report. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, the motion to report has been seconded. The members will cast their vote on the electronic voting machine. Delegate Adams, you having trouble? Chair concludes roll. The bill reports 6-1 with one abstention.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Senator Marsden. Thanks to all the folks who came. And Subcommittee 1 is adjourned.